Right, welcome back everyone, welcome back to another video on the MGF race car where we've been repairing the side through damage last season through the racing. As you can see, we've got it all panelled up now. Into a sense, we've got everything laid on and just roughly clamped into place. I have removed all the old bits from the old panel and the door shut latch bit. There's a lot of reinforcement plate behind the actual panel itself, which is all welded in, and the door now opens and closes. At the minute, I'm trying to repair this closing panel here. It's not going too great at the minute. I was struggling to find a replacement genuine panel, but luckily Pt.2, he does a replacement repair panel. Unfortunately, I'm not able to make that fit for some reason. It just doesn't fit right for me. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. He assures me that he's sold hundreds of them and he's had no complaints, but I just couldn't get it to fit properly. The actual, well, you can see this one here, I've actually tried to cut it all up and trying to make it fit. At the minute, I've got the actual radius in there now, but the radius on the actual panel itself, it doesn't match the radius of that sill, and it sits a little bit too far back. So when you try and put it in, it's pushing the sill towards the wheel, and this whole panel is all janky. It doesn't really fit very well. And the body has got a little like hump in it, hence the reason why it's got a cut out here, because I tried to cut it out around the hump like the original panel was. I couldn't get this to fit. I was coming here today to try and do something with it, to cut up a little bit more and just try and make it a little bit better, but we have actually found an original replacement panel. So this is what they originally come with. This bit here off the Pt.2 one I've got in there at the minute. That's all bolted in place and clamped in place. But now we've got this one, we can take this one out and we can replace it with this one. That fits in there like that behind the sill. Make a nicer job using the original panels, in my opinion. So yeah, I think we just need to get on with it. What we'll do is we'll take this wing back off, we'll get this sill panel off, and then we can have a look and see about removing, because I've still got this bit here attached to the car, so removing this bit here and then offering this up and hopefully making a nice job of it. And then we can carry on, get the sill panel back in, get everything lined back up again, and then hopefully we can plug weld it all in place, get it all in place, and that'll all be fixed. And my goal for the end of this video is to get all the panels in, on and secure and get it all in the primer, hopefully. Right, so let's just get on with it. Let's get everything else removed, and then we can finish taking off this little bit here from the car, and then just getting on and getting this one fitted. Right, that's everything back apart now. We need to obviously just take this little piece of panel off here, because that's all included in here. As you can see, that should sit on there nicely like that. Once we get it out of the way, we can then obviously offer it all up nice and properly. So I just wanted to show this bit here. Obviously we've got this little lump here where you can see the little raised bit in here. I know it's not the nicest of panels. That came up all bent, so I had to try and straighten that out. But I'd rather straighten that bit out than try and fabricate something. But you can see this little hump here. Now this panel here comes out down here, all the way up to the top here, and then that's all filled in. There's like a return lip on. I'll show you the bit that I've already cut off. So that goes like that, and then all this is all filled in at the top here that I've already cut out. So I try to obviously do it a bit like the original panel here, and I was just gonna stitch weld it in place, a little plug weld there, and then obviously get this bit here, which should go about there-ish. But I just couldn't get it to work for some reason. I don't know why. Again, I'm no fabricator or body repair person. I'm just learning this as I go along, and obviously bits that I've picked up through various YouTube videos and all that sort of jazz. So yeah. Right, so let's just get this panel. Look like there's a couple of spot welds here, a couple of spot welds at the top here, a little tack weld up here to break. Get all this cleaned up, get some rust proof primer on there, and then hopefully we can offer this bit up and get this all into place. Right, we've got the panel all in place now. As you see, fits in there lovely. Got the old plug weld bits all lined up. So yeah, all this lines up. Put the sill back on just so it all lines up. I've already drilled and screwed the sill in place, so I know that's going to be in the right place for the door. The only thing that I'm not too happy about is this gap here. So I'm not too sure. I'm going to have to get the other sill bit out and just see if that's been like crimped over and then spot welded in here, because I was just in here with a couple of spot welds and then one in here, but I can't remember if this was like bent over and then done. So I'm going to have a look at that. So I've got all this in place here now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a couple of tack welds in place here. Might do one of these plug welds here, a couple of tack welds down here, just so it holds in place. And then I can take the sill cover back off again and show you the bit in person, basically, without being covered up. Right, that's now with the sill off. Just a couple of spot welds in there, and we've done a couple of little tack welds in there. Welder's not playing ball with me today. I think it's too cold, I think, personally, but I've just changed the tip and the nozzle on the welder, so hopefully that'll make it a little bit nicer. But yeah, all we need to do now is just clamp it in place here. Bash it around a little bit here, and then just finish off the welds. Right, so that's that bit all plug welded in. I've just took the tops of some of the welds, especially down here, because the welder's just not playing ball today. I mean, it's this little caterpillar here, that's not too bad. The plug weld's coming out alright, but sometimes that'll just spit and spat everywhere. So I just had to take the tops of them so it makes it a little bit more pretty. We will just dress that with a little bit of seam sealer. You know, just to try and protect it a bit more. This car still has got most of its seam sealer on, so a little bit more ain't gonna hurt. Yeah, I guess the next thing is to prep up this sill, get the holes drilled in for plug welding, get it all stuck back on, in place. Not too sure about fitting the door and wing and getting it perfect. It should be perfect because obviously I've drilled and marked all the where it should be, but for the sake of it, it's going to take a little bit more longer. We'll just stick the door back on, stick the wing back on, bolt everything back up, just get everything in the final resting position, and then hopefully we should be good. And just you can see where I've had to plug weld in the reinforcement plate for the door on the back of this panel, and obviously the door latch is all in as well. I did that the other day and that turned out absolutely fine. The weld was working absolutely fine then, but for some reason today it's just not playing ball. So we'll have to see how far we get. If it's continue on playing up, then I might have to postpone it for another day. Hopefully that won't be the case, so we'll crack on and yeah, we'll just carry on and get the sill all mocked back up again. Right, I think we're about there. Yeah, I mean, the sill's in, the wing's in, that's all lovely. The door gap here is maybe a little big, but is what it is. I haven't undone any of the hinges on the actual body itself. Sorry, these ones here. I haven't undone any of them. So hopefully the door will go roughly in the same place with minimum adjustment to how it was. As I say, these are reproduction panels. They are fairly good, but they're not perfect. Not like the closing panel that I put into there. That's like almost perfect, that is. Again, the gap at the bottom here is relatively even. We've had a little bit of damage here. So I'm not too sure what I'm going to do about that yet until I get in primer. The gap's a little tight here, but again, there's still enough room in there. I mean, I can quite happily get a screwdriver in there. And then it sort of opens up at the top here. So, and there isn't any more adjustment in that door for where I had it originally on the original panels, if that makes sense. So I think that's this rear quart panel. I mean, it sits here where it sits basically, and the same on the top here. I can't push this panel towards the front anymore. That sort of butts up where it butts up because they're here, and then obviously here we need to just press that in a little bit and weld that up. I've got a little clamp on here. I'm running out of clamps at the minute. I've only got 3 or 4 clamps, so I'm using screws and stuff to hold it all in place. But yeah, that's the door opens and closes. I've got a couple of screws in here, another one in here, another one in here. As I say, that strengthening panel's all welded in. I might need to put a little screw in here just to bring this panel up here to meet this bit. That's all nice and flush here, but it sort of dives down a little bit here. So, and then we need to sort of figure out how to finish that bit off in here. Because as I say, it's a little bit far away, if that makes sense. But everything else, that's all in place. So I think we might have to roll that over a little bit with some hammer and dollies, or some hammers because you can't get a dolly behind it. And then obviously just put the spot weld in here. There was a lot of seam sealer in here that I had to dig out originally, but yeah, I think we're sort of like getting there. This bit here, that'll meet up into here, but I think what we'll do is we'll get this sill panel welded on first, and then come back to obviously refitting
the rear quarter bit and see if we get it any better. I don't think we will get it any better, but I mean, as I say, the door opens and closes absolutely fine. So yeah, I don't think there's anything more to do about that. I think these sill bits in this rear quarter steps out a little bit, so I think the door could probably do with coming out at the bottom, but again, I'm on full adjustment in that aspect. But it's all nice and flush around here. Again, it's all nice and flush around here with them wings. So yeah, I think this is about as best as I'm gonna get it. Don't get me wrong, someone else could spend a lot more time and effort getting it perfect, but at the end of the day, it is just a race car. You know, it isn't got to be a show winner. As long as it looks tidy from in the grandstands, that's all I care about. So I'm doing the best job that I can do. Again, I'm no panel beater, no body expert. I'm just picking things up as I go along, and then just problem solving as I'm doing it, if that makes sense. Number circle is good for taking measurements and writing on it, so that's what that is all about. But yeah, I think what we're going to do is we're going to just start tacking the sill in place, getting the spot welds all welded in place, and then going from there really. The only thing that I am a bit concerned about is that the manual, the body manual for an MGF, states that I need to run some kind of body panel adhesive in between some of these panels. And again, I did clean a lot of that up as well as seam sealer. I'm not too sure whether I should put any body panel glue. I haven't got any body panel. I don't even think I've got any Tiger Seal. All I've got here, which I've been assured, is this Quick Seal, which apparently is a MS polymer adhesive instead of a PU adhesive that Tiger Seal is. That's the only thing that I can really do to put in between the panels, but I don't want to smear it in and then go to plug weld and I end up with spits and farts because the welder is not behaving itself. Anyway, that's enough talking. Let's start putting some spot welds in, getting it all in place, and then we'll might be able to do it without taking the door and the wing off. But yeah, let's just get into it and get this front sill cover fitted. Right, so that's that all welded in place. I've ground back all the plug welds and just given it a coat of primer. The primer that I've using is this graphite primer from Kent. That's pretty much the same as red oxide primer basically, but less red. So yeah, I want to try and not have any bits show, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's all in, really happy that we've got this closing panel in now. That's looking mega. Some of the welds are a little bit janky around there, but is what it is. But the rest of it came out okay. When I was plug welding the bottom sill bit, the welder started playing up again. So yeah, but we've managed to get on top of that anyway, and they all turned out good. So it's just a case of just blobbing it in really and grinding it back. They'll all hold much of a muchness. The only thing that I'm really happy about is like this bit in here. You can see where I've tried to hit that to bend it in place. Now if I look at another shell which I've got outside, another F shell, this is all flush. So maybe either this panel isn't quite right, being a reproduction panel. It seems to fit everywhere else, just not on this little bit here basically. So I've just bashed that in, put a spot weld in there, a little tack weld up there, and then just ground it back as best I can. By the time we stick some high build primer on there and just give it a little tickle with some sandpaper, you wouldn't hardly notice it, hopefully anyway. But you know what? It's not a show car, and I keep trying to tell myself that it's not a show car. So yeah, all the panels are all nicely welded into here. I managed to get a little spot weld in here underneath this panel as well. Grind that back as well. So when we go to offer this panel up, then that's all going to fit nicely. I am going to have to take this rear quarter back off again. I want to put a couple of more plug welds in down this skin here because it's very bowy, and also there's a massive gap here, so I'm not entirely sure whether we tweaked this frame a little bit in the impact. It's just folded in that top edge corner there, that's like quite battered around this area here. That's where most of the hit came in from, so I might have to straighten that up a little bit more. And also we need to put some kind of glue in at some point as well. It says to come down here. I did say about going along the sill bit here, but I didn't bother, to be honest with you. And then we need to put it in all along here, down here, and I believe a little bit around this headlight or this rear light black bucket, and also in this wheel arch. So yeah, I was hoping to have the whole thing welded in and epoxy primed. Not this primer, like the whole rear or the whole side of the car in epoxy primer. But I'll tell you what, it just takes so long. I mean, how long have we been down here? 6 hours. And all I've achieved is welding in this little closure panel here and welding in this and get it into some kind of rust proof primer. So I think we'll have to come back another day and do the rear quarter. It is Christmas Eve today, so again I'm gonna go home, spend some time with the family. So we'll probably pick this up in between Christmas and New Year, I guess. I'm not too sure if I'm gonna put it all in one video, if I'm gonna edit this video here so you've got something to watch in the meantime while you're sitting down after your Sunday roast or your Christmas roast or whatever. But yeah, as I say, I'm quite happy with the fitment of that panel in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, just need to carry on and do the other one. But for now, I think we'll just leave it here. I think I'll just edit the video and just send it out. It's going to be 15-20 minutes long, so it'll give you something to look at over the Christmas period. So for now, I'll catch you in the next one and have a Merry Christmas.